A very common question we hear from men is, how can I be a better husband? And I think that's a pretty good question. In fact, watching this video is a great first step to doing it. My name is Jim Porto, and I'm a part of the Marriage Helper team, and I'm really glad you're watching. Before we go on, do me a favor and like and follow and subscribe us here on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. We'd love to be friends with you, and you can be up to date on the most recent things and additions we have happening here at Marriage Helper. Well, how do I become, or how can I be a good husband? It is really a great question. I guess I would ask, why are you asking this? Why would you be asking yourself this question right now? I mean, maybe it's a personal growth thing. Maybe you saw a relationship with another husband and wife and you thought to yourself, well, I think I'd like to be better at what I do. Maybe your wife made a comment to you and said something to you. I don't know. Whatever happened there, for some reason you're asking this question. And it's a good question to ask. What can I do to be a better husband? Well, it really starts by saying this: a better husband equals a better human being. See, it's not just a gender specific thing. It's not like men can do certain things and get away with it and women can't, or vice versa. Rather, how do we make someone feel, or how do we contribute to the influences of somebody feeling loved, liked, and respected? See, we know by research that that's why the primary reasons of people divorcing. And so what am I doing that's evoking these emotions in my spouse? What can I be as a husband to be there? Well, I need to be a good human being. And what are some things that a good human being does to be another good human to another? Well, just like this. First of all, you want to master your pies. Pies are important because they help you be the best version of you. If you're new to Marriage Helper, pies are simply this: they're physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. There are 4 attributes in which people are attracted to us, but they are also things that we want to work on for us to be the best version of ourselves and be attractive. Well, see, if I want to be a good person to people, I need to be getting rest. I need to be taking care of myself. I need to be living consistently with my values. Emotionally, I need to be a safe place. And if I can be a safe place emotionally with all these other things, then I can provide a foundation for my spouse to be able to approach me, for us to be able to have conversations, like we do with other people in the world, our best friends, family, things like that. See, we have these conversations with them, and we go into it with a thought of, there's no threat, it's just we are talking. Well, if my pies are where they need to be, if I'm strong physically, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually, I'm taking care of myself, then I'm more likely to have a good review of what someone's saying back to me. Or even better, I have a personal self-image that's best. In other words, I don't see myself as broken or a needy or whatever, which could be broadcast or projected upon my spouse, but rather I have a good self-image of me. And so that way when my spouse and I begin to talk, I don't become defensive and go at her as her husband, but rather I can listen to understand, not to respond. This isn't something easy, and it doesn't always come naturally, but I can tell you it does work, because if you could be the best version of you, then you could be the right person for the relationship. Another thing we could do, we know that good humans do to other good humans, is they listen. But not only do they listen, they hear. A lot of times if my wife is speaking and I'm busy about something else, or I'm not paying attention, it leaves the interpretation of, I don't respect you, I don't care about you, because if you were important, I'd be listening. We don't want to leave that thought in our spouse's mind, because it produces fear, it produces a lack of trust. So what I want to do is, when my wife is listening to me, or speaking to me rather, I want to be able to listen to her. I want to hear what she's saying. I want to try to understand what she is saying. Now, not some kind of journalistic, just question, but rather questions that lead me to the understanding of either how she feels, or how I've hurt her, or something in between. But not only working on the pies, but listening, hearing what they are saying, and not only me doing internally, but they understand, they see, she sees that you are listening because you care about her, because you want to understand her, and because you want this relationship to be powerful. Not only that, the third thing you could do is, I want to encourage you to be a well, not a fence. A lot of times that what we do is we're worried about what someone's doing, or we don't like what someone's doing. And so what happens is we can become controlling. It may not even even mean what we want to do, but we start worrying about that they could hurt themselves, or they could hurt others, or they could hurt me. And so as a result, I start putting things around them. Maybe it's words or actions or actual deeds. I don't know. But somehow I put them in the place where I have them, I'm controlling them, I'm letting them think that they have to do things my way. And that always deteriorates a relationship. It always will pull away. And not only that, but the person who that's being done to usually feels controlled. See, I don't want to build a fence around my family. I don't want to build a fence around my wife to keep her here. I want to dig a well. Because if I dig a well, I know that that's a place of provision. That's a place of sustenance. That's a place of refreshment. Well, you know, in the East, they do ranching a little different than us. They do it with a well. They don't put fences up and cover. They let their animals free range. They let the cattle free range, the sheep. But they know this: when they're thirsty, when they're hungry, they're going to come back to the source. See, as a husband, I want to be a source of joy, a source of encouragement, a source that my wife is sustained with, that she wants to be there. She wants to be a part of it. Not someone that controls her or makes her, you know. I want to be someone that she wants to be around, and that's directly connected to my behavior of whether or not I'm contributing to that. The other thing you want to remember is there are two sides to every story and every coin. You know, a lot of times my wife and I have gotten into arguments, and it was mostly due to my inability to see the other side. It's like if I had a quarter and I was holding it right now, and you're screaming heads and I'm screaming tails, and I'm trying to convince you that it's tails and you're trying to convince me that it's heads, instead of looking at it and saying, you know what? It's heads and tails. It's part of the same thing. A lot of times when we're so busy trying to make our point, we forget to be able to hear that there are some other things that are there. I need to be careful that if I'm going to demonstrate respect to my wife and be a good husband and be a good human, that I have to remember there are two sides to this. And sometimes just because I'm hurt or I'm upset doesn't mean that my wife did anything wrong. It could just mean that we have a disagreement. It could be I'm seeing things different. But nevertheless, you're going to want to make sure you keep in mind that your way isn't the only way. There's more than one way to accomplish this goal. And if we can do that, we can compromise, which adds value to our spouse. It's very important. The only way you can get a true perspective of how your wife feels, or anybody for that matter, is to step up, get where they are and look from their vantage point. It's the only way you're going to see where they're coming from. See, if I can work on myself, make myself the best I can be, emotionally, spiritually, physically, intellectually. If I can be a person who listens, not so worried about putting my agenda out there, but listen in the fact, I want to hear what you have to say. I want to understand what you have to say. That if I'll be a source of sustenance, a well, not a wall, but a well that my wife can come to and she can be filled. And I can remember that my way isn't the only way, but that we can do compromise to get things done. I can really demonstrate what a good person is, but also what a good husband is. See, I want Shannon, my wife, to want to love me out of her heart, not out of something that I've tricked her into doing or making her do it. The last thing I can tell you that'll help you is this: have a short memory on wrongs. You know, it's so easy to remember things people have done to us, and if we remember enough of them, they're like a single snowflake that starts ganging up and becomes a blizzard. We all screw up, we all make mistakes, but we all need forgiveness. And if we can have a short memory on wrongs done to us, maybe we can have a better memory on the rights we've been done and the good things that are happening. You want to be a great husband? You want to be a great human? Treat them in a manner that shows they matter. Now, I told you at the end of this video, we would have a free resource for you, and that's what we have. It's called It Starts With Attraction. It's a podcast that we'd love for you to be able to listen to see how you can be more attractive and how you can work on being the best version of you. In addition to that, we have a paid resource that you could call a customer service rep on, or you could check online. It's called our Pies Bootcamp, and it shows you how you can become the best person possible, physically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually. Again, follow, subscribe. We're glad you're a part of this. We'll talk to you soon.